Justin, pleasure to meet you formally. A big fan and excited to talk some sneakers with you. Excited to talk sneakers with anyone. I saw you did the interview I guess it was last season at Recess
Yep.
down here in Seattle. So a great local sneaker shop. But I wanted to know what was the genesis of your sneaker story? So what was the first pair? So for me, I brought mine here, Laney Fives. This was the first pair I got as a kid that completely changed my life, made me a sneakerhead. So, what was the one pair for you that sort of set you off that way?
So growing up, I had the 14s. The 14s were the first one, but my favorite, and I know he knows where to go right away. My favorite pair, the first pair I got out of the draft that started this whole thing for me, were my Bread 11. So you know where those are, right? Right? Hello? Hold on, is he frozen?
If not, no worries. I have a
There
pair
they
right
go.
here.
There they go.
So we'll get into these a little later. But what about the Brit 11s? What was the reason why these caught your eye at the start?
I don't know what it was. It was just something about the fact that I couldn't get them, couldn't really afford them, and so when I signed and had the ability to go and get them, I decided, hey, I got to do what I got to do, and went over to Flight Club, and that was my very first purchase out of the draft.
Love it. Love it. Great story. We'll get back into the 11s because I got a tough question later to ask you about these pair because I knew you loved these. But moving on, you mentioned earlier this week that you've been watching The Last Dance. You've also been reading the Mamba Mentality book that was given to you. Are there any other athletes you've been now thinking about studying or sort of analyzing? I got some Kobe's here for you because I know he was the guy. But is there any other athletes that you're looking at? See, look, there you go.
I
You
got you.
got the undefeated ones. Yours are a little nicer than mine.
No, I mean, I got kind of obsessed with studying what it takes to be great over this time, and I feel like you look at anybody who's played the game, from Derek Jeter to A Rod to CC Sabathia to Pedro Martinez. Every single one of those guys had that trait about them that made them great, and Kobe had an interesting line in his book, and it was kind of about learning from the older generations because the road doesn't change. The road is all the same. So just really trying to understand what they learned on their walk to greatness that kind of accelerated their learning process, and things that I can take away, nuggets that I can take away and put into my life and my game, and try to speed the learning process up. Ultimately, to help build what we have going here in our clubhouse, and get things going on the right way and be able to help the team as fast as possible.
And what's your biggest takeaway so far from Jordan in The Last Dance and his mentality when attacking the game?
I think from him, it's his ability to just turn it on and take over a game is bar none. I mean, that's something that I feel like he was born with, and you can't really just get. So that's something for me that's really taken away, and then his discipline to his craft, and everything he does, and understanding that everything he does is just directly driven towards his end goal of being who he is now as Michael Jordan. And I think that's what really him and Kobe had that made them into the players that they are.
I love it. I love it. All right, shifting back into sneakers here. Now I know you have over 200 pairs, and Ryan is gracefully enough to be down there, I think, near your closet or by your shoe collection somehow. So I want to know, for me, the toughest pair for me to get was these off-white Dunks. Just got
Okay.
these recently. But what's the hardest pair that you ever had to go out and get and find and sort of acquire?
Um, the toughest pair for me to get were the original off-white ones. I
Wow.
have them. I have them. They're not even in my size. Um, so they're in a 9.5.
That's a good size, though.
Yeah, I've been trying to flip them. So my brother can't hear, so I had to text him which shoes to go get. But he's gonna go. So you can kind of see the closet over there. Um, but that was one of the toughest shoes for me to get. I had to go to Flight Club; they didn't have them. Then had to go to Stadium Goods, and
Woo.
never been touched. Dead stock. Holding them for the chance I get it. I'm able to go to a sneaker con and maybe try to flip them for my own size.
Yep.
Um, but I have them. They're mint, and then I was fortunate enough to also get a pair of the Black Claws 4s when those came out.
Wow.
In a size that aren't mine. So I'm holding those two to try to flip them and get them in a 13. So anyone watching this with those in a 13, we got a deal if you want to swap.
There you go. There you go.
Justin, do you have a pair that has a special, significant meaning, or do they all have a special, significant meaning? What do you think when you reach for a pair, or you look at a pair, or what, as an individual, on an individual level, what do they mean to you?
I think, like I said, the breads, the bread 11s to me are everything for me, because it was just the symbolization of me getting to where I wanted to be and achieving goals. And now I'm putting myself in a situation to get something that I've always wanted, I've always dreamed of, and to have the ability to go get it on my own. And I think I've worn those twice. Like, I'm trying to keep those as nice as possible, hold on to them, eventually get another pair to go get. But those right there are my favorites. And like, if he goes in there to try to touch him, he knows we're fighting.
He has special permission just for this video, so we appreciate it. So what about this guy who this shoe is based for? King Griffey Jr., you get to play for the organization that he got to play for. What's it mean to be, you know, playing in a stadium where you see his statue out front and knowing his impact sort of on sneakers and culture here in America, you know, being in that sort of the same locker room as him?
I mean, that aspect is amazing, but just, I think, to be able to have the conversations with arguably one of the greatest players to ever play our game trumps all of that. Just for me, I don't even see the fashion and the culture side of it. I just see, this is the kid. This is Griffey. This is who I watch. This is the lefty swing I imitated when we played wiffle ball in the backyard. But then you get into the shoes, the fact of when he dropped something, I was going to get it. That was the one shoe I was able to afford as a kid. So I always had Griffeys. I had a pair in high school, a pair in college, but kind of outgrew them and got super worn down. And I haven't gotten a pair since, because I want to get the OGs, black with the white, and then the teal number and everything, and I want to cleat them. So ooh. I met him at the Futures game, and I was scared to try to plug him for a pair then. So next time I see him, I'm going to see if I can try to make something happen, and see if I can't get a pair or two to cleat and try to rock in game for Friday unis.
Has Kyle been helping you out with any of those cleated Jordans? Because I know he's on Team Jordan. Has he been putting in a good word to help get you on the team?
No, I want to do it myself. I mean, it would be great to get every little bit of juice, because it's such an elite family to get into. But he did say he was going to bless me with a pair of his custom ones at some point. So I'm excited to get those on my feet, and those will definitely come out in game one day. But I try not to ask him for his shoes. You know, part of the fun for me is the chase and flipping and getting other shoes to make things happen. And so that part is cool that he gets them, but I like the fun of going to get it and having to deal with my mom saying, you got another pair of shoes, and have her see them and go, oh, those are actually really nice, and deal with that whole process.
Love it. All right, well, I got 2 questions left for you here, and I'm probably going to end on the 2 toughest, even though they're simple questions, but I'm going to make you pick between 3 shoes. You got to rock one, you got to stock one, and you got to drop one. I'm sure you're familiar with that before. So yep. We'll start with your favorites, Bread 11s.
Uh-huh.
Then you got classic cement 3s here, Jordan 3s. And your other favorite, the Jordan 1s. Ooh. You got to rock one,
ooh,
stock one, drop one. What are you doing?
So he's a big 3 guy. Cement 3s, cement 4s, those are him. But I'm dropping the 3s, man. Those are gonna go. Yeah, those are gonna go for me. I'm gonna stock the 11s. And I'm rocking the 1s because I can dress them up, dress them down. They look better the more you wear them. I mean, I literally brought a couple in here. I brought like 4 pairs of 1s. I got these here, my Travis Scott's with me, and then I brought these out here. And then I'm getting the new Royal ones that are coming out. So I try to wear 1s a lot. 1s are a huge shoe for me. So the 3s are gonna go. I hate to see them go, but they're gonna have to leave the rotation.
Great answers. And I agree, yes, the 1s are great to dress up and dress down. So last question, Holy Grail, you can only get one pair of shoes. I'm offering you any pair right now. It'll just appear in my hands. What pair are you taking?
That's really tough, but I love the Carhartt Force.
Oh.
hmm I think I just love the all black look. They look mean. I love them. I love them.
And you rock them, right? You would wear them.
I wear everything.
Yeah.
I respect PJ Tucker for what he does, and he wears everything he gets. We get these shoes. What are you just going to keep them in a closet and never wear them? No, I get them to wear. I get them to show off. That's the fun for me. So I would definitely wear them. I would be very smart with where I wore them and what the weather. I would be checking the weather days in advance, but I would definitely wear them, or at least try to.
Well, Justin, this was a pleasure. Thank you so much. Learned so much about your shoes, and hopefully one day I'll see you at recess and we can kind of swap, shopping tips down there.
100%.
All right, Justin, that was a ton of fun on the shoes. And how many do you have with you right now?
With me right now, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16. I literally got a pair about 10 minutes before I hopped on this call.
All right. So you're okay for now. You're reasonably stocked up on the shoes, and that okay. Let's just kind of take it a little bit back to we talked to you right before everybody kind of took off, and now we're a couple of months in. How have you been able to kind of hold up on the baseball side of things?
It's been tough, but it's been kind of a lot of fun. It's taking things back to bare bones and. In a way, get into an experience an off season with friends. I'd never really had a chance to do before. Go to throw at the cages or wherever we're throwing at for that day, and have Evan White there, have Jake Fraley there, Marmalejos, Johan Ramirez, Fleming's around. So it's always a breath of fresh air when you get to see those guys and see a familiar face, but. It is tough to have been ramped up and then have to kind of downscale a little bit. But we have a good little setup at our house. We have a gym in the garage, a net in the backyard. So I've been flipping to Jake on days they can't get into a batting cage or something. And we throw in the street. We run in the street. It's really been bare bones, but we've been trying to make the best of it.
Now, I think I heard you were with the Fraleys. Is Evan White there too, or is he just nearby?
No, Evan White has his own house out here. He just bought a house before he got married out here. Okay. So he has his own place, but I'm renting with Jake and the Fraleys. Yes, the entire Fraley family is here, and we have been having a great time. So it's been a lot of fun. So
you're learning a lot about little ones then.
Yes, I'm learning they have a lot of energy and they love to play. So it's a good time.
They're looking for, I'm sure they are appreciative of having the extra playmates there with them then. You said that you were able to get out to some cages. Where is that, at the complex, or is that just in the area?
No, ma'am. We've kind of had a little relationship. I don't even know how we got tuned in with them, but D-Bat has a place down in Avondale that they've kind of been opening the doors to some of the pro guys who are still here, trying to do it very safely with you got an hour, maybe 1 day a week, 2 days a week, and they do different waves. So all the Mariners guys will get in at the same time and then get out, and they gives them time to kind of clean the facility down, and then get the next wave in and everything like that. So we've been doing that 2 to 3 times a week, trying to limit the exposure as much as possible. But we've been seeing each other basically every day anyway. So. But we've been having a pretty good time and having a lot of fun.
All right. You mentioned when spring training broke up, you were interested to see how much stronger you could get, how you could maintain. You immediately looked at what advantage can I get out of this break. What have you seen in that time?
I'm learning a lot. I mean, more than anything, just strengthening the mind. From talking to Andy McKay to talking to Woody to Carson. Been doing a lot of reading. I mean, we've been having pitcher Zoom calls talking about the mindset of Michael Jordan and The Last Dance and the culture that they've created, and using that time to kind of work on my own personal growth, both mentally and physically. And on the physical side, been kind of tinkering on some little minute very small things that I can really pay attention to detail on that aren't going to be very stressful. And I didn't really have the time to work on in camp with Woody. So it's been great. Been sending a lot of video back and forth, a lot of one-on-one time and calls with Woody. But we're definitely starting to head in the right direction.
We were just getting to know Woody this spring. Tell us what we can expect with seeing him for a full year, working with all of you, and just you've got a good amount of experience. What does he bring?
Woody brings something that I think is very important in a coach, and that's his care level for every single one of his players, whether it's Marco or Matt McGill in the bullpen or JP at shortstop. He cares genuinely about each one of his players individually. And he's going to do whatever it takes to get that person better, to help the team win, and also for them to have the best career possible. So just from Woody taking time away to talk to me instead of spending time with his newborn baby, and making time to make that happen, and doing the pitcher Zoom calls and giving me drills to do, and I know he's giving other guys drills to do as well. And he's definitely a young and energetic coach, and he's a lot of fun to be around, almost a spark plug at times. He sometimes has more energy than we do, which can be annoying, but he brings out the fun.
I think I saw you guys were ready to throw him in a fountain in Texas when we were once there. It might have been his birthday, and he was running around. And
Woody, I don't know if you guys got a chance to see it, but Woody always has a handshake with everybody and comes into the locker room and the dugout screaming from game 1 to game 140 last year. So it doesn't stop.
Oh, that is great energy. Hey, you mentioned, okay, so you're with the Fraleys right now. When I talked to Jake in the spring, he was on a pretty extreme diet. It sounded like he was almost like going vegetarian. Is he doing that still?
To the best of our ability. It's a little tougher with not being able to go grocery shopping all the time. But we have been trying to eat as well as possible. It's tough because his wife makes unbelievable cookies. So, whenever those cookies come out, they don't really last too long. We kind of crush them. But we've been doing our best to eat healthy, and his diet has been holding up pretty well, yeah.
Yeah, that's what he said. He said the cookie was the one treat, the one cheat that he had. So that's still going strong now for all of you.
Yeah. I've been looped into that kind of guilty pleasure right there. So cookies are now my thing as well.
We're all going to come out a little different. You are now a cookie monster. That is fantastic. Hey, in the shoe portion with Taylor, we were talking about the Jordan documentary. And for me, it was interesting to watch. I was actually at some of those games, and I lived through some of that time. What was it like for you to watch, as somebody that I know that, you studied it. I'm sure you watched it. You're aware of everything that Michael Jordan did. What have you learned about him and that time in watching that documentary?
See, my parents had always told me nobody's like Mike. Mike's the only one that could get the ball in the fourth quarter, and everybody knows the ball's going to Mike, and he's still going to hit the shot. And in a way, I always thought they were joking. But when the documentary came out, and you kind of, like I was saying earlier, you can see him flip the switch and say, I'm going to take the game over. And that's something that I've really appreciated, just the athlete in me, of being able to say, big game, it's time to turn it on. I need to go 7 tonight to get the ball to CJ, to get the ball to Goose, and we're going to go home and be one up in the playoffs. And to see that ability and to see the way he got everybody to kind of pull together towards a common goal was really cool to see. And you take a guy, and I was talking to Woody about it the other day, a guy like Dennis Rodman, who's such an out there personality, and to understand that you have to let Dennis be Dennis. You can't put reins on him and say, this is who you have to be, walk the straight line or else you're gone. He understood that he needed to leave for a little bit and de-stress and get back to where he needed to be and understand where basketball was on his priority list in order for him to get the best out of Dennis Rodman and in order for them to get to where they wanted to be at the end of the year. And I just thought that was really cool to see that aspect of it. And you always think about when you hear superstars that they're very driven and sometimes not fun to play with. But I appreciated seeing that, just a teammate that understood each person is different and you have to let them be their own person in order to get the best out of them at the end of the day.
Yeah, it seemed like he was well ahead, and Phil was, and that whole organization, and how they worked well ahead of their time and letting guys be themselves.
100%.
What about the competition? Well, your reaction when you saw what the Pistons did and not shaking hands.
I would be upset. I would have been upset. We would have shared some words. I love the fire in the series. I love playing hard. The competitor in me loves that. I try to bring that same fire every time I touch the mound. But at the end of the day, there's always something to being to sportsmanship and the respect for the other person you're playing against. And not to say, I mean, the time is different according to them, and I don't really know the whole backstory behind what was going on. But for me, I would have loved to see hey, great series at the end. You guys finally dethroned us. Obviously, it stings, but that's just part of it.
Yeah, no question about it. Hey, you mentioned the Zoom calls earlier. Tell us what one of those looks like. How long are they? How many people? What do you guys go over? What if I were to drop in on a pitcher Zoom talk? What would I see?
It ranges. It's about an hour to an hour and 15. And Woody calls it the happy hour. Usually he's the only one with a drink or a cigar. Or DeLuna's had a nice cigar the other day with a great view of West Seattle in the background. So that was a refreshing view for us to see. And we're usually on there just talking about the last dance and how it applies to us and how we can flip that into us as a starting unit and a bullpen unit, and then as a staff as a whole, and get everyone to pulling towards the same goal and get us to where we need to be as an organization. But it's a lot of fun, a lot of different insights. I try to do more listening than anything and try to pick the brains of Marco and Kendall and Ty and really learn from those guys who have been around a little bit. But it's a lot of good conversation, and it's an open forum.
What's something you're going to take from this time, this very strange time when we've all been, forced to be at home quite a bit more?
I think, like I said, the personal growth of it all, just the continued self-growth and understanding that there's always room to improve and get better. And when you can find that within yourself, you can help others bring that out within them at the same time. And that's one thing that I'm learning from Kobe in his book was, he said through learning himself, he was able to learn to read kind of other people and other teammates and figured out how to get the best out of them. Not saying I'm in a position to go up to Marco and say, hey, this is what you need to do. But eventually at some point in my career, I would love to be there and be able to look at someone in my shoes now and say, hey, this is where you need to be. And this is how you need to work to get the best out of who you are as a player. So continued self-growth and understanding not only yourself, but others around you.
All right. Well, we're all going to take different things away from this, and I appreciate how you were trying to get the most out of this. And as I noted from day one, which was great to see, I'm sure people around you appreciate that. Before we go, is there something that you have picked up in this time? Is there a new skill? Have you learned how to cook something? Are you watching something different? Learn a musical instrument.
No musical instruments. I've been playing a lot of golf, which I'm still terrible at, to just compete at something. But I've learned I make a pretty mean breakfast burrito. Right. So I'm pretty proud of myself for that.
Okay, we will let you get away with that as being your new talent. Breakfast burrito supreme.
Yeah, I'll make it for you one day.
All right. I hope that is soon. Justin, thank you so much. Thanks for letting us into your closet and letting you know, or introducing us to your little brother. And, hopefully we will have baseball in the not too far distant horizon.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.